Hello and welcome to Glorious Reacts. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce ourselves. I am your host, Paul from Singapore. And with me are my friends, the Thunder from Down Under, Arnold.
Hello! It's been a while, apparently.
And the Thriller from Manila, Joel.
Hey guys, what's up?
Sorry guys, have to compose myself. We join retired Avenger Clint Barton, also known as Hawkeye, as he attempts the most challenging mission of his career, getting back to his family for Christmas. Before we continue, I'd like to inform you, dear viewers, that this is not a spoiler-free show, and we will be talking about key story elements that will be
Especially for this one, considering
basically spoiling the whole season.
it is.
So,
Yeah.
so if you haven't watched it, please do watch it before watching this, or just watch this and and just imagine.
And
Close your
then
eyes.
realize
and
that you're missing out, and then you don't
while
understand
we talk while we talk about the action scenes. Close your eyes and just imagine. We're very descriptive in that way. Let's get right into it. All right, I want to start with Joel. Give me your give me your key highlights in this episode.
Highlights.
For this season ender. I'm sorry, season ender. This is not just any episode.
Yeah.
It's a season ender.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for that, Paul. I think I need to start with the fact that because this is the season ender, they really just like a really good thesis paper. The thesis statement of the series was actually already was mentioned in this episode, and it was mentioned by the appropriate character, and it was Kate, right? When she said that being a hero isn't just for people who can fly or shoot lasers out of their hands. Now, which actually begged me to ask, who in the MCU can shoot lasers from their hands? Maybe you can say Iron Man because he's got the repulsor rays.
Repulsor rays.
Yeah. I was thinking like more of like energy blasts. So we haven't really seen anyone like that yet.
Captain
But
Marvel.
oh yeah,
There you go.
that's true.
Yeah. When she goes
Black Widow.
binary. What? Widow's thing is not that. Okay. Anyways.
Anyway, so yes, it's not just for those people. It's for anyone who's brave enough to do what's right, no matter the cost. And then after that, you cue the "You've Got the Touch" by Meatloaf. You've got the touch, no matter the cost.
For some reason, that song should have been used in so many TV shows this year, right?
Yeah.
For some reason. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got that quality. It's got that quality, right? It's got that quality. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me, that encapsulates the entire thing. This entire series has been all about hero worship. Has been all about being inspired to do the right thing. We've seen it. We've seen it manifested in the show through the LARPers. In that scene, in that sequence where they came out, and then nobody was listening to them, even though these guys are one is from the fire department, one is a police officer. I don't know where the other two are from, but anyway, they got inspired. They put on their LARPing costume, and because of that, they did the right thing. They were able to evacuate the people properly. And aside from the LARPers, we also have none other than Jacques Duquesne, who was probably doing it just for fun.
Yeah.
But still, he did the right thing. He had a sword handy, and then he came out and then helped.
I found it extremely cute that he came out with a sword on his waist, right?
I want to know Arnold's feelings about this. Is about Jack, because Arnold's been saying all throughout the season that he wants the character to mean something, but here we get him. He does mean something, but I don't think it's even close to what Arnold wanted the character to become for the season, right? So, what do you feel about their use of Jack in this way?
So just a really quick one. Jack, obviously, we got his payoff at the end wherein he actually participated in dealing with the tracksuit mafia. But you're right, not in the level that I wanted him to be. We haven't. I just have a feeling we haven't seen his full potential, and that the way that his character was handled, or how it ended for Jack, feels like we've been a door has been left open. So I'm still pretty hopeful. I wasn't disappointed because there was just so many things happening. There were so many cool things that was going on, and that was I kind of like forgave the idea that like, okay, well, that's all we got from him for now. But it doesn't seem like we're not gonna see him ever again, considering that we've seen the more people have seen what he's capable of doing. So maybe Feige's just keeping him as one of those cards up his sleeves that he can deal out for some interesting, sequences later on when we either see him in Echo. I don't see how. Well, maybe he's still going to be in the same area where the haunts of the Kingpin, for example, and Echo. So we could see him. So we could see a reprisal of Daredevil. For all we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so there's still the potential. I totally can see it. And plus, obviously, Kate's gonna be Kate being the new Hawkeye moving forward, and her fairly direct connection to Jack means that it's very easy for him to come back in the big movies as well. So not too.
Yeah, so it might still end up where Jack Duquesne might still train Hawkeye. It's just that it might not be Clint Barton Hawkeye. It might be Kate Bishop Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That's still a possibility. Speaking of Kate, still talking about Kate, and of course we have to add that cute interaction, that frenemy action between Kate and Yelena. That was so cute. In this episode, with the whole elevator thing, and then the one-shot sequence in the building, all of that entire thing. It added on to that brief interaction that they had in Kate's building, in Kate's apartment, and it was so cute to see the frenemy relationship continue. And I hope that we do see that in future MCU properties.
I have a strong feeling that this is establishing the way they'll be communicating. This is their love language. So this is what we will see them be doing from now on.
Yeah. It was. We did have like a bit of like a problem trying to figure out how Yelena fits into the whole timeline of everyone else, all of the new Avengers that they're coming up with, the young Avengers that they're coming up with, and because of how the previous episode explained that she actually lost 5 years, she still would be in that same age range, which would still work. That makes this interaction between the two really, really cute. Like it's gonna be something that a lot of fans are gonna look out for if they do find out that both Yelena and Kate are gonna be in the property. One thing that ended here though is and it was beautifully done, was Yelena and Clint coming to terms with their grief at the same time.
Yeah.
That was like the emotional that hit really well. The emotional gravity of that scene, and it helped Yelena come to terms with how her sister was no longer there, and how she shouldn't be blaming, and then she found this other person who grieved just as much as she did for Natasha's loss, and that was so beautifully done. That scene was beautifully done. Yeah, Jeremy Renner's delivery of those lines. He's got such a sad face, and then the way he delivers those lines, that was so beautiful. And then you got Florence Pugh with that sad face. Also, she's got a really uh, you can't help but pity her in a sense
Mm.
when she has that sad face on, and then you see both of them doing it. They're going through that grief, and it was just a wonderfully done scene.
Mm.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Those are my three takeaways from that episode.
Arnold,
All right.
how about you?
Well, in my case, there are a few more things that I like to highlight. One of
Mm.
which is we finally get to see that series of that the training, I guess. Because so far, in the previous episodes, what we've seen so far is just a little bit of offhanded suggestions, comments of how um, Kate can do things better. There were just a few things that Clint taught her how to stitch up being bruised, because this apparently is going to be a common thing for any Hawkeye who takes on the mantle. So they're going to be bruised badly and they have to take care of themselves afterwards, right? We've seen him teach her how to do that fancy coin flip thingy, right? But apart from that, we don't see any actual training of some kind of training that we've been expecting from a mentor to a mentee, and now we finally got it in the form of learning how to build trick arrows. So I just really enjoyed that sequence. Where she was obviously super excited that she was finally going to be taught the secrets of doing this. Now, I guess as part of his training, that he's got a lot of engineering experience in putting all of these arrows together. So it'll be interesting how Kate actually manages to do this, because she's an art major. What was she majoring in college?
And I think that she was in college on an athletic
On
scholarship.
an athletic
I don't know.
scholarship, right? I remember there was a side comment about what she was taking on in college. I wasn't sure if it was true or not, but it didn't sound like she was she
An
was like
engineer.
she was not an engineer of any sort. So it'll be interesting how she'll learn and to put together all of these trick arrows later on. She seems to be getting what was going on, but it's just cute that she has all of those little extra labels on just so that she remembers what these things do. So the manufacturer of the trick arrows has a lot of lessons on tactics of what to do and how to do it. And they obviously had their own little Avengers 360 degree shot when they landed in the middle of that skating rink, and it was a pretty good payoff from my point of view, as far as the 6 episodes has been for the Hawkeye series. Because we've been building up towards Kate taking on the Hawkeye mantle and her being worthy of that title, and it seems like it's finally here. This episode has given us how Kate Bishop can become the Hawkeye in the MCU moving forward, and it was this great. It was this nice montage. Next thing is that I just really enjoyed how we are reminded of how much a powerhouse the Kingpin is. We have no explanation. I can't remember if it was explained at all in the first season of Netflix Daredevil, but the Kingpin is just built like a tank, and we just don't understand why. I think there was an episode there, and says like when he was young, he was bullied, and all he had was his rage, and he always used that rage. And how he headbutts everybody, and for some reason his head is just so tough.
It's a wonder he's not called like Hammerhead or Rhino.
Exactly, I know, but he really headbutts everybody, and I remembered Charlie Cox's Daredevil having to deal with that headbutt a lot, and he obviously was hurt by that, and it's just interesting how it's pretty cool how Kate Bishop was able to manage Wilson Fisk in that entire time, able to use both tactics and her trick arrows, not as suave or effective as Clint is, and we can see how they are different in both experience and technique.
Yeah.
And obviously, well, my experience would cover the age in terms of knowing what to do. But she managed to hold her own in fighting against the Kingpin, with a bit of help from Mommy when the time came. And it's just so cool that people are now reminded, especially for those who probably missed the Netflix Daredevil show, that hey, there's this guy, and he's not just some mafia boss. There is a reason why he's called the Kingpin, and that him on his own is a force of nature, and that his intensity and his drive, he's bringing that into the MCU, and I'm so excited for it because, even the way that he talks, how you and I just love it. I just love how he
D'Onofrio just brings so much to that role.
Exactly, and it's just like, wow, look at that. When was the last time I saw you? And he still sounds the same. He just brings it back, and it just feels so great that he's now in the MCU. It feels like he's in the right place. He could. Just like a quick side note. I don't think I've actually put it here, but I hope they keep on bringing these guys from the Netflix verse of Marvel shows over. Bring John Bernthal over, because the Punisher will be will also be
who
good.
else though?
Who else, I wonder?
Who else?
I heard they're gonna bring Iron Fist over.
Well, there you go. Yes, so it's just so great that we are treated. For those who are familiar with D'Onofrio's portrayal of the Kingpin, we're reminded about that, how great of a character he is. And for those who have not seen him, it's just the way that the Kingpin is written into the final 2 episodes of Hawkeye feels very, very satisfying.
Just not wearing that Hawaiian shirt, it doesn't do anything for him.
No, but the Hawaiian shirt is an allusion to a comic book issue.
Okay. Yes, I actually remember that there was an image of him of the Kingpin from the comic book that had the Hawaiian
with exactly
shirt.
that, the red and yellow Hawaiian shirt with the white
scoop
on that. Yeah. And it was, I think, D'Onofrio who actually said no, he should be wearing this.
Okay.
Oh, he's really owning it, huh? He's really owning it.
So let's get to our series. I know this is the last episode of the season, and we don't even know, or there's no confirmation if there's going to be a season 2, but we want to hear about the theories and predictions if you have any. Let's start with Arnold on the theories.
All right. Well, one of the great things that they ended this season on is the fact that the Kingpin survives. Yay! I would have been so...
Well, we don't know.
I would have been so...
killed off screen, right?
This is where theory comes in, and I'm just like... my heart of hearts, I just believed it. I believe it in as much as I believe that D'Onofrio is going to show up in this series. He survives. Plain and simple, period. Yeah, there's no arguing that. He survives. Now, here's how he survived. So remember how we got that typical, pan away from the and then we hear the gunshot. Then we hear the gunshot. We have this conversation between a very, very wounded Kingpin who's limping. Yeah, I don't think Matt Murdock has ever managed to damage the Kingpin as much as Eleanor in her car did, running him over. And obviously Kate, she probably did a lot of damage to him as well.
Yeah.
And then he has this conversation because we actually see Maya confront her uncle. Now I feel that that shot was a warning shot, and telling her and that because Maya still cannot bring herself to commit that kind of, from my point of view, for her character, an atrocity. We've never seen her actually kill, right? She seems to be that type of mafia boss. So obviously, sure, she knew what kind of business the bros, the TFO, the tracksuit mafia runs, right? But you know how there's some sort of like honor among thieves. I have a feeling that she has that kind of quote unquote honor. That one of the things that she'll never cross is to actually kill somebody. So and plus the fact that the Kingpin is, for all intents and purposes, her only remaining family. You know, Kazi's dead. Obviously, her father's died. Kazi died because he cannot bring himself to go against his loyalties to the Kingpin, but at the same time cannot bring himself to actually hurt Maya. So he just kills himself. So yeah. Plus we're getting a Echo TV series, right? And what better way, you know, if they're not gonna be bringing Matt Murdock as Daredevil, his own TV series in Disney Plus just yet, well, Echo will be the best place for the Kingpin to actually, you know, keep doing his street level things, and for Maya to do her street level things as the next, as another hero who we get to watch from this vantage, right? From this vantage point. So that is
okay.
why.
Let me just add to that, because one of my predictions is actually also that the Kingpin survives, and my proof that the Kingpin survives isn't from anything in the show, but it's actually from the comic books, where a similar confrontation did happen. I don't know if it was a Daredevil comic book or what. But yeah, a similar confrontation did happen between Maya and Kingpin, and Maya did shoot at Kingpin, but Kingpin survived, because nobody really dies in comics, right? But yeah, Kingpin survives, but he is blind. So yeah, he's left blinded by what happened. So that's something that they might also
Don't
explore.
tell me he gains hypersensitive hearing.
Echolocation.
He also gets echolocation, just like Daredevil and
Exactly.
Echo.
How ironic is that?
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna be the big blind bat.
The big blind, the big blind is going to be flying as well. One of my other theories, obviously, is that Clint. So in the beginning of the series, I had an expectation that we were actually going to be seeing Clint retire. That one has kind of changed because of how things have ended in the series. My feeling, or my thoughts about that has changed, and I think Clint's gonna be continuing on sort of in semi-active service, not exactly as a full-fledged Avenger, but more of like a mentor to the young Avengers when they come out. So what better mentor than the guy who's managed to mentor 2 superheroes already by now, right?
Wow.
So
Can we actually call him telling Wanda that she's an Avenger mentorship?
How else? How else? Right? Because you'd be like, hey, he's just like, if you recall that particular scene in Age of Ultron, I mean, she was scared shitless, right? And she's the one with the powers, right? And all he did was really inspire and tell her that, hey, you know, it's fine. So he did all the right things as somebody who's trying to help people, you know, achieve their full potential, you know, to understand them, to listen to them, to tell them what the situation is as it is, and to help them make a decision. If that's not mentorship, I don't know what else is. So, right? So, you know, it totally fits the bill.
But that's his brand.
Exactly.
His brand is
Well,
inspiration.
he serves as an
Yeah.
inspiration. Exactly. Of all the Avengers, obviously all of them have served as inspirations. You know, the kid in Iron Man 3, for example. 3? Is that Iron Man 3?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
yeah.
The
And-
Christmas
Yeah,
Iron Man.
Christmas Iron Man, and then obviously the all of the I guess if you could still consider the very first episode of Agents of Shield as canon, there were a lot of kids who really looked up to the Avengers post the Battle of New York. So, but it's just a particularly special highlight for Clint that he's an inspiration to a lot of people who are not exactly super powered or super intelligent.
All right. How about you, Joel? What are your theories, predictions, or expectations?
my theories, of course, they're all very plausible.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we've
You're
heard the first. Yeah,
Most
Kingpin.
sensible person here.
Yeah, I am. I have the most sensible predictions ever. Right. So yeah, well, my first thing is that I'm going to launch. I'm going to launch off of what I mentioned about the relationship between Kate and Yelena. I do think that they are going to maintain some form of communication with each other, text mates if ever.
You
and-
mean Yelena will give her number in case of emergency, but
yeah,
Kate will
yeah.
Just keep texting her every single.
texting her every
Yeah,
single time.
I love it. I'm just like I'm expecting Yelena to be like, shut up. So it's
Shut
either
up,
that,
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop, or either that, or she'll secretly enjoy it because she really likes the girl talk.
Yeah, because I mean, she will have found a new sister.
Mm.
She's never had a girlfriend, so it will be the first time.
Yeah, so it's like it's gonna be like she would be in the position of Nat because she's a little older. I'm guessing she's a little
True.
older than the kid.
True.
So
But I really hope she never matures in that regard. I mean, I hope she stays
No.
as the little sister style, because that's her brand now.
yeah,
I really
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I do hope that they continue with that because that's a relationship that I don't know if they really planned on that happening or they really planned on people picking up on that. But the fact that happened, and it was such a nice thing to see the relationship between these two non-superpowered superheroes, and they become actually the new Black Widow and Hawkeye. It would be really cool to see that they begin a friendship akin to what Nat and Clint had before them, right? So it can have that kind of a spin to it as well, right? And yeah, of course, the other prediction that I've got, or the other. How do you say that? It's not a prediction. It's more of like it's something that I want to see. Because
It's
we
a
did
desire.
have
It's a want.
desire because we did get that get that major reveal at the end of the episode when Laura flipped over the watch and it was her watch and she's Agent 19
Agent 19.
and she's revealed to be Mockingbird.
Yep.
Yep. A Mockingbird. Well, the Mockingbird, I guess, as far as Clint Barton is concerned. Which is like, they gotta do something about that one. I mean,
exactly. That's why I actually want to see a Hawkeye and the Mockingbird prequel series.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
That could be where they can. It doesn't have to be Clint Barton. I'm sorry, it's not. It doesn't have to be Jeremy Renner, because it's gonna have to be. They're gonna have unless they plan on working with de-aging for an entire series. But yeah, it doesn't have to be Jeremy Renner and what's the name of the actress? Cardellini.
Linda
Cardellini. Yeah. It doesn't have to be the two of them, but I do want to see them, and that's also another way for you to bring back in Natasha Black Widow. They bring that in the Budapest. They have a Budapest episode.
Exactly, because they've never actually fully explained the entire scenario, right?
Yeah, we just know that Budapest was when
She
Natasha
defected. Yeah, she
flipped.
defected.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we didn't really see how that happened. It would be cool how they would tell that story, and then like yeah, I think that might be something that Kevin is looking to explore in the next few years, whether it's still Jeremy Renner and Linda Carladine and ScarJo, or whether or not whether it's a totally new cast, right? But that is something that I hope that they do try exploring,
Yeah.
because it would be cool. It would be cool. And I've always one of the movies, one of the MCU films that I've always liked was Captain America and the Winter Soldier,
Okay.
Yes.
because it was such a high espionage movie.
Yep.
And I think that Hawkeye and the Mockingbird prequel series will be that espionage story that I think I got disappointed by Black Widow.
Yeah, because it wasn't. It was clearly
Yeah.
not.
So yeah, I was disappointed. I thought that Black Widow was going to be that espionage movie, but no, it didn't happen. So I hope that Hawkeye and the Mockingbird prequel series,
Do you
if they
reckon?
do decide to get into that,
Do you reckon it's gonna be a movie or a TV series?
I would love it. I would love for it to be a TV series.
Okay.
Because that way you
another
get more
episode,
stories.
another 6 episode Disney Plus.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you end it, or you end it at in Budapest.
Yep. Sounds
Right.
good.
You make that connection. How
Was
does
she
Hawkeye-
there? Was
We don't know
Mockingbird
if
there?
she
We
wasn't.
don't know, but we do know that they have a
but-
they have
So
a
they can
strong
write it in,
relationship as
basically.
well. Not, I think,
Yeah.
isn't not a godmother of one of the children?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
so basically that's why we know that she is integral part of the family, because
Yes.
she was introduced to the family.
So it's
Yeah.
quite possible that that Nat's relationship with Laura Barton was when she wasn't a Mrs. Barton yet. Right?
yeah.
It'd be
And she
cool
was
if
Bobby
it was
Morse.
It could be cool. If
No,
let's
not Bobby Morse.
Yeah, Agent 19 is Bobby Morse.
Yeah, but in this case, I don't think that's how it.
Why
the
not?
character.
I think here it's gonna be Agent 19 is Laura, whatever her name was, but it won't be Bobby Morse,
Why not though?
because I think I think they don't want to step on the other Bobby Morse.
But that's not canon.
Well, we don't know if it's canon or not, right?
It's not. They've already said it's not.
Are you talking about the Mockingbird
Agents of
from
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've already said it's not canon. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon.
Agents of
Totally
Shield is
not.
weird because they're not canon stories, but the characters, especially
Especially
um,
Coulson. who's
yeah, Lady
dead
Sif
in the
was
MCU.
there, you know,
And even
Coulson
Fury was there.
Yeah, Fury was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maria Hill was
But
there.
then again,
so-
it could always be a variant. Like, Bobby Morse and
There's
and
always now
Agents
the
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
variant
could always
route.
be a variant. They don't all have to look the same.
That's true.
I can't remember. I don't think I've managed to watch the season wherein they actually introduced Mockingbird in Agents of Shield. So I can't. I don't remember if there's a
Second
likeness.
season.
There is actually
Yeah,
a
I think it was
likeness.
second
No, it could not have been
They
the
didn't
second
really-
season. The second season was
was.
when Grant became
was-
bad, right?
No, that was the first season.
What? Okay, never mind. Never
Yeah,
mind.
so-
Clearly,
The first season, Grant already became bad.
well, he was already a double agent of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Hail Hydra.
Triple
Oh, crap.
Second season was they got. I forgot. I
It's
don't know
okay,
what
it's okay. We
they were
don't need
doing.
to. We don't need to delve in what we now know as nebulous
Yeah.
stories.
We don't need to delve into something that's not canon. Anyway,
Anyway.
I'm gonna go to my most sensible prediction.
course.
So this is definitely going to happen, guys.
Ah.
This is
Yeah, so
definitely
this is definitely you
what
have to watch
will
out for
be.
this. Yeah.
This
You
has
can- you
been
can-
this has
you
been
can quote me
verified.
on this.
This has been verified by Kevin Feige himself.
No, it
Yeah.
has not,
I
but we
spoke-
still
I
believe in
spoke
our
with-
predictions, especially
Yeah.
James.
Yes, so this is my Reed Richards. All right, so for my Reed Richards, I do believe that since we are headed towards the Kangniverse, Kangnesia, we're gonna have a Kangnesia. So I do think that Kang is gonna travel to a time before the Avengers, and Feige makes his own version of Agents of Shield. That's what I'm saying because Agents of Shield is not canon. So
Right.
Feige is gonna come up with his own Agents of Shield to wipe out that Joss Whedon travesty of Agents of Shield. And then he's gonna have Clint, Bobby, and Nat as the main heroes. So yeah, it's gonna be something that it can be a what if that branches and becomes solidified because of the multiverse of the madness of the multiverse.
Mm.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen at all. So yeah, I do think that Kang is gonna have something to do with it if they are gonna do it. Yeah, that's one way for them to do it. By the way, and the other way is because it really happened. Because that's gonna be canon. Kevin Feige is canon.
Whatever he says is canon.
Yeah, Kevin Feige is the one of all.
Okay.
He's been, and then next thing we know, he will look into some obscure side imagery that's been added in Iron Man 1 and says, see, Kang. See?
Kang. Actually, if you look at one of the 10 rings, one of them actually has the face of Kang. You just don't.
And the other one has
quite
Clint
figure it
and
out.
Clint and Bobby and that in them for
Yeah.
some reason. There you go.
Okay, so we've come to the part where where I, the host, the brilliant host of this
Whoa.
So brilliant.
this property, give our two guests, no, not guests, co-hosts, a question. So the one I wrote for this is not specifically connected to the characters or the season. It's something that's more of a what if. Ooh, drop.
Love it.
Yeah. So this is the question. Regardless of what MCU has planned, should there be a season 2 for Hawkeye? And were your expectations when you watched the show met or surpassed? And lastly, what would you have done differently if you were Kevin Feige?
Who's going first?
Anyone can go. You can rock paper scissors if you want.
Oh no, I'll start. I'll take this opportunity to just dive right in. So, for your first question, whether we need a second season, I personally feel there is no need. I feel that this is a great Hawkeye story. I feel that it's achieved what what it needed to do, what its goals were, and I think these were the goals. We needed to find out what happened to Clint post Endgame. Because we found out we know what happened to Iron Man. He did. Right?
Yep.
We know what happened
Or
to
is he?
Cap.
we know what happened to Cap.
He did also.
He went back in time. He grew old. Well, there's a theory about around that. We won't want to go into that because it's strange, it's muddled, and Kevin has yet to tell us what really happened.
Yeah.
We knew what happened to Nat, obviously.
She did.
She
did.
did. We knew what happened to Thor. Thor's still fat.
Yeah.
And he's run off.
He's partying.
He's well, we've met his other version. I still like MCU Thor. And he's run off, go play in the stars, trying to find out his new purpose in life. We know what happened to Falcon. He the new captain.
The new Cap.
He's the new Cap, right? So we know what happened to Wanda. We knew what happened to Vision. He did. Well, he kind of came back, which was odd, but it was cool. So we found out practically the stories, and we still are waiting for Hulk's story. I guess that's where Thunderbolt Bros
I
comes
don't
around.
know. We probably know what's gonna happen to Hulk, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he has a
We
cousin.
just gonna keep on smashing.
He's
Yeah,
gonna keep on smashing. No, we're gonna have we're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
have
yeah.
Hulk No Way Home and Eric Bana and Ed Norton are
Ed
all gonna
Norton.
come in, and we're like, what? They're gonna do the Spider-Man thing. Anyways,
Yeah.
what do you call this? So it's perfect that we get a extra long, explanation of what happens to Clint, and I think this series achieved that exceptionally well, especially what Joel mentioned about how Clint has finally come to terms with Nat's sacrifice,
Right.
because this was a string that has not been handled very well in the end of Endgame. He was just like, things happen. Basically what we got was like, shit happened. Sorry, that was it. And he was still recovering from the madness of the 5 years that everybody was gone, and the sins of that. So that gets me to the second part, to another thing that was like that was tied up fairly well in this episode, in this series, which was what happens to the Ronin character and how he deals with the fallout of the Ronin character. So he's finally purged it from his system, and at the same time confronted Yelena, the only remaining, I guess, apart from his memories, proof that Nat existed, right? So the revelation of who the watch's owner was is a great way for it gives a lot of elbow room for Feige to make more Clint stories, whether it's prequels or sequels. Him being established as a mentor, if my theory proves correct, him being established as a mentor character allows more stories, right? More ways for him to reappear in not just a guy shooting arrows kind of thing, because the new kids kind of like taken on that role, but his version of Hawkeye, or we can just call him Clint from now on, can continue without being like sort of like a parallel or a comparison to Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, which obviously won't be very good storytelling, and we don't want that to happen. Because of my third point, this series has established Kate Bishop as the new Hawkeye, and I personally love the new Hawkeye. I really like what we're seeing. We're gonna get a young, fumbling, overly zealous Hawkeye who has an extra strong hero worship. And when we say hero worship, she won't be the only one. When Miss Marvel shows up, she'd be like an uber geek. So there'll be lots.
Yeah.
So Clint giving her the seal of approval is great. It tells us that, hey, yep, that's it. That's the new Hawkeye. It's an excellent launching point for just new stories that stem from this series, which we already have a few that we know it's already lined up. Maya's Echo, for example, TV series is going to happen sometime this year. This year? Yeah, this year. We know Kingpin's going to be, I'm looking around because he survived.
Yeah.
The new Black Widow, Yelena, and obviously the new Hawkeye. One of the themes that we've seen happen in the series is us being told that Clint just needed better branding, and the series has established that branding. Right? That branding will carry on, I feel, and that
So what brand is that?
that brand,
Clint,
that purple,
mentor.
really actually looks pretty good on him.
Inspiration. Purple.
That he's a guy who just does his job, but in reality he has inspired a lot of people to action, right? And that he needs to recognized that he has a vital role to play in inspiring the next generation. Regarding expectations, clearly my expectations were blown out of the water. I only expected that we'll have that very gruff, unfriendly Clint Barton trying to take Kate as some sort of apprentice begrudgingly. But no, we moved from that into getting Kate Bishop coming out as a pretty good Hawkeye, her own Hawkeye. We got Yelena, we got Lucky the Pizza Dog, we got the LARPers Grills. We've got Kingpin Pinofrio to show up. So right,
So it's
instead
fun.
we
Jack
got
Duquesne.
Jack. We got Jack.
You're forgetting the best part of the show.
Oh, okay. It's not, but so instead we got this really down to earth, heartfelt, very family focused story that I think is one of the best ones that came out of the Disney Plus series last year. So I would
agree.
not
I
want
agree.
to change anything. Absolutely.
Wow. So nothing you would want to insert.
No. I mean, this is why Kevin Feige is Kevin Feige. He's got all of the bright ideas. I mean,
Okay.
Joel has a lot of bright ideas too.
He could do like it, to drop a line.
Just a
tell me
smidge
what
better.
ask you like.
Joel will can make it a smidge better.
All right. So then let's hear what Joel has to say.
Okay, all right. So here I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you guys now.
Oh yeah.
cultured.
No.
Here we go.
This series has actually become one of my, or sorry, not one of my, but it has become my most beloved of the MCU Disney Plus shows. Before this, it was WandaVision. Let's start here. WandaVision, and then there's Loki, and then there's What If, and then all the way past the screen, Falcon and the Snowman. Right? So but now it's now on before WandaVision. So it's like Hawkeye and then WandaVision.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And if you noticed, a lot of especially even Falcon and the Snowman, all of the shows that dealt with live action characters dealt with grief in a certain form, right? And this is the one that had an actual positive sort of way of a positive resolution for it. Right, because at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we still didn't quite see how it was going to affect the whole thing. I mean,
Well, they hugged
the
it
Flag
out.
Smashers died.
Didn't they hug it out? Are you talking about Wilson and Sam Wilson
but if you're also talking about how the Flag Smashers were dealing with their grief of being displaced and all of that, they got displaced. A lot of them died. All of them died.
All of them died.
So this is the first one that really it goes back to, I think, one of the main points of this series, which is inspiration.
Yeah.
This did aspire to inspire, and I think that they were successful in doing that. I can't quite figure out if I even want to change anything about it. Maybe if I were to change a detail here and there, I would want to add a little bit more intrigue when it comes to Eleanor Bishop, because I mean it's Vera Farmiga. You bring in an actress as talented as Vera Farmiga, and she doesn't really have anything to do with the plot as much. She's just okay. I mean, she's not that integral to the plot. In the same sense, I think that I would have given Jack a little bit more agency in the progression of the plot, and then to play up that I mean, it was a callback. The fact that the swordsman is actually the trainer of Hawkeye. So play that up. We just I think we mentioned this in one of the previous episodes that it would have been nice if there was a hint of recognition between Clint and Jack. Like, oh, you're the guy who trained me. Are we supposed to tell them? No, because I'm trying to marry this woman. I don't want her to find out about what I did. Right?
Right.
And it could still have contributed to the whole Ronin thing, because because Swordsman could have been the one to train him to become the Ronin, right? And be the previous Ronin. That was a whole prediction or expectation that didn't pan out before, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. But all in all, the main beats of the series for me worked very well. The only episode that for me wasn't quite as consistent with the rest of the series was the one with the car chase. The car chase itself. The car chase itself. And for me, okay, it was necessary to put that in because they needed to do some fan service because that was a sequence in the comic book.
Yep.
But aside from that, I didn't quite see how it fit into the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, it gave us that huge, that giant arrow thing.
Arrow, yeah. The pim.
Yeah, but
I actually like that shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was pretty much just it was fodder for the trailer to make it exciting.
That was it. It's the action sequence that you expect out of an MCU property,
Right.
right? That for me that was that. It didn't really quite mix into the whole thing. Because the show itself dealt with the consequence of being a human being, albeit one of the best sharpshooters in the world,
Yeah.
pushing his body to the limit countless number of times and having to deal with everything he's done as well. So the whole Ronin thing in his past.
Yeah.
For me, the car chase was just fan service. It didn't
Yeah.
really add anything to that. Now, should there be a season 2? I agree with Arnold. There is no need. Especially if this was just a vehicle to introduce Kate into the MCU.
Yeah.
And later on, the Young Avengers or Secret Avengers or Avengers 2.0, I don't know. There is no need for us to have a second Hawkeye season. It might mean Haley Steinfeld might become a little too expensive for them to afford for a 6-episode series.
Yeah.
You reckon Jeremy Renner was cheap?
Oh yeah, of course. He's an Oscar nominee, but yeah, I mean, that's the Steinfeld is young, so she's got a lot more upward mobility in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't see the need for a season 2 if ever. They can do a Hawkeye and Black Widow, or like I said, I would.
Mockingbird.
Yeah, Hawkeye and Black Widow, but it's gonna be Kate and Yelena.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do that, or like what I said, Hawkeye and Mockingbird.
Yep.
The Hawkeye and the Mockingbird. I would love to see that. That would be
much better than a season 2. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hawkeye and Yelena. Hawkeye and
And
the
Mockingbird.
Widow. They should just name it Girls' Night Out. And there you have it, folks. So Hawkeye is still currently streaming on Disney Plus, even though we finished it. You don't, you can still watch it.
Yeah.
Up to you.
Rewatch it.
You
Definitely
don't have
go
to watch
rewatch.
it on our word,
100% watch it.
but you should
Based on our
because
word.
it's really good.
We
really
enjoyed
good.
it.
It's the best one. 2 out of 3 said, or is it the best one for you, Arnold?
Oh, surprise question. No, it's not. My best one is still.
Okay, he's wrong. He's wrong. So 2 out of 3 say it's the best one in Disney Plus shows. So you better watch it. And that's it for us. That's the last of the Disney Plus shows this year. We'll be back next year for whatever comes. Pretty sure She-Hulk is there somewhere. I
Yep.
don't know what the rest. But we'll talk about it in
Definitely.
I guess in like a New Year episode where we talk about our plans and what's gonna be happening for the year 2022. But in the meantime, this is Paul with Arnold and Joel signing off. Oh, sorry, I forgot, guys. 1, 2, 3. Merry
Merry
Christmas!
Christmas!
All right, and that's it. We're done.